Welcome to this exciting edition of Community Power Series, and we are so excited today to have very powerful community power leaders.
So I'm Ivette Guillermo Magehi. I'm the founder and director of Allies in Caring, a philanthropic organization that provides mental health services for immigrants in the United States, specifically New Jersey. And we are working, mobilizing communities and educating communities on the impact of mental health, but also the importance of civic engagement as a way to also improve their mental health.
I am Joseph M. Cabo. I worked in Fumble Talk since 2008. We are working with over 1,500 communities across Sierra Leone and West Africa.
It's so exciting to see diverse people across the world connecting on the key topic of community power. What does community power mean to you, Ivette?
Human beings need to contribute and need to belong. The belonging and contribution is what makes us healthy. So when we are working with immigrants, which are not welcome in every community, and so that impacts their sense of belonging and their freedom to contribute. So what we are working with is to help immigrants to come together and create a sense of belonging among themselves.
Something I wanted to know, how do you use community power to connect youth parents and light holders?
So sometimes I start trying to help them develop empathy. So they might say, oh yeah, my kid also has anxiety, or I have I myself I'm struggling with depression. So that's one way that I try to say okay, so you know about depression, and you know that human beings, when you are frustrated on a daily basis, it can paralyze you. And so we don't want that. The town is going to benefit if we have people who are who have the energy to contribute. But if we have people who are depressed or using drugs or fighting with each other, it's not good for the well-being of the town.
Perfect. Thank you, Ivette, for this critical for you to build the common ground. Joseph, I think you witness a lot, particularly on reconciliation, and you have a lot of experience in terms of building community power through powerful structures you have.
Yes, community power creates the space into bringing all different ideas, generates ideas to see how we can put these ideas together and can be heard in the communities. And the reconciliation process, we started it in 2008 in Sierra Leone. And it's a post-conflict country wherein you have so many people and so many things happen. Sierra Leone didn't just suffer in the 11-year civil war, and there has been the Ebola. We create the space, we engage the communities because they have so many felt needs. But we engage them, we train them. Like, for example, there are so many villages where in their houses were burnt down, most of their properties were destroyed. So they lost hope. Most of them feel depressed. So when we visit those communities, we started the work, we have to engage them, we train them, and also it's about asking consultation. What do you want to do by yourself? It's not what is coming from the outside. So most times we name so many things that we want to address. So we train them how to start, to be self-reliant, how to bring development from their own heart, and to see that those things are addressed. And we have got success stories. So community power is integrating this whole process across the world.
I come back to Ivette again and ask, how is he using community power to address the mental challenges, the trauma faced by immigrants, and the repressive laws and the injustices that we see the immigrants face, particularly in the U.S.?
When we are faced with pressure from the outside, we tend to internalize it and think that it's our fault. Oh, maybe the reason that I'm poor, or maybe it's because I did wrong, I shouldn't have come to the United States, I'm an illegal person. Or in every context, that's how children also take it personally. When their parents are fighting, they think maybe it's my fault that they are fighting. So that's what we do as human beings. So what we are doing is kind of bringing a light to people and helping them see, okay, it's not all, there's a systemic dysfunction that is impacting you. So it's not your fault. It's not you who's wrong. So that's the first thing. So that the person comes out of blaming themselves or thinking something is wrong with me. So we help them see that there's a systemic problem. And that's why you need to organize and work with others, because you alone, you are not going to overcome it. We need to kind of little by little address the systemic problems, and we can create together a better society that starts with your coming out of blaming yourself and coming out of this darkness and understanding, okay, I can, so it's kind of helping, that's why I like the light, helping them remember and see clearly, and have their own light, and then the same that this lamp can help ignite other lights in other people. So together then we say, okay, so we together, so for example in my community, like if there's no jobs or there's no opportunity, but there's a woman who knows how to make tamales. Tamales is like a food. And so we say, okay, let's work together, and we can start a business like what Joseph was saying. So we can create something different. We can understand now that even though the system is oppressing us, we have resources among ourselves, and we can create a different reality for ourselves.
Thank you, Ivette. But I wanted to get more personal. Do you have any little case or one case where you help somebody get off the trap?
This family where their husband, they were engaged in domestic violence. And so, but then when we came to educate the family, we help them see that you are fighting with each other, but in reality the stress is coming from outside. So you shouldn't be fighting with each other. You need to be a couple together and help each other overcome the difficulties. And then we asked this woman, like, maybe you alone as a couple, you cannot do it either. You need a community because you don't have a network. When you are an immigrant, you lose all your uncles, aunts, and you don't have a network of support. So you need to create a network of support and adopt new cousins and aunts and everything. And so we created a women's village. And so then now the women's village support each other, and they, for example, if a woman say, well, I don't have who can watch my kids while I'm working, but this other woman said, yeah, I can watch your kids, so I can provide transportation. So we created an informal network of support, and we have a WhatsApp group. So when somebody needs a ride or someone needs help, they say, I need a ride to this city, and then somebody else says, I can give you a ride. So that's kind of one way.
What critical case where you seen the power of community power building or assisting somebody who is depressed, getting out of that situation and feeling lifted?
We've got success stories in Kailaun. We are in a guy who was involved in the fighting force has to murder publicly the father of his friend, which was terrible, and this was done in the public space. So when we started our reconciliation processes in 2008, and we are able to locate them, and but they were afraid to speak up because we are afraid that they can be apprehended, because the special court was then set up in Sierra Leone to try those who committed high atrocities during the fighting force. But we engage them, we inform them that listen, you are not going to be arrested, feel confidence, we are here, we are like you are human, because we're trying to bring in the integration processes in the local way in which they can have confidence. So the guy had to say is now that I have this confidence, I can speak up. So he stood publicly in that bonfire, and said, yes, he committed this thing. But he was under the influence of drugs and other things. But as from today, in this open space, he pleaded for mercy to be forgiven. And the victims also stood up and said, since you have said this, I feel healed from my trauma, from my depression. They had to embrace themselves and reconcile. So this teaches us money and power, people use it to gain wealth, forgetting about the root. Because without the root, we can't stand. And the stem also, the trunk, is the bridges. And these are the bridges Community Powers is building. This is the network we are bringing together, the ideas. And hence we build those bridges, hence we stand as a tree, there will be a successful community power across the world and across the world.
What does it mean with the artifact which you said?
So this comes from my story of like a woman who thought she didn't have anything to offer. But then she remembered that she had herself, and and that the light in oneself is like the light of wisdom and the warmth, and that with this she brought it to a village as an offering that helped others, and if I turn my light, I can light yours, and I can light yours. So that's kind of the power of that we can then all reconnect with our own wisdom and warmth that nobody can take it away. That they can take away many external things, but our internal light, our internal fire, nobody can take that away.
Thank you. That's very powerful. That our internal power and resilience is built by the connectedness of lighting somebody, making somebody happy across the border, making somebody happy in your neighborhood, and making sure that we live as humanity, we live as people who love each other. Besides the challenges which we are brought, and most of them are man-made challenges. Finally, my colleague Joseph. There's something you said again. I think you need to emphasize again. Why do you love this symbol? Why do you love this? Why do you travel with it? What is so powerful inside it?
Yes, it's so powerful because as a tree is a symbol of unity. Yeah. And a tree can be affected by the wind, and it can be swayed in different ways. Yeah. But with the root, with the resilience, you can stand up. And a reconciliation is not an event, it's a process. You can go to start reconciliation in certain communities, you can be even thrown away, or you can be rejected. So reconciliation process, you have to have the passion for the job. It's not about gaining what you for personal gain. It's about building the structures to have a coexistence and peaceful environment for people to see that we are one. So the tree here, you can see that everybody is involved, inclusive. You cannot do reconciliation wherein you bring in separations. And sometimes you have to be careful when doing reconciliation, because you cannot go to reconcile or you ignite problems. So thereby bring everybody on board, especially in the community, because there are people in the community wherein they are troublemakers. They don't want to listen, they don't want to be controlled, they don't want to participate. They are always looking for trouble, they are looking for problems. So the tree here is very, very important to me. And I sense that I learned from it that the roots, if you don't have the root in a reconciliation, that one won't stand. And if you don't have the trunk in a reconciliation, you won't succeed. And if you don't have the leaves, the branches, the fruits in there, it symbolizes everything in the process of reconciliation. So these artifacts really demonstrate like reconciliation leads from the heart. It's not of what you see or what you hear. And you can be told about something, but if you are a strong peace ambassador, you need to find out, you need to understand, you need to know the issue, you need to know the story before you started doing the process for a peaceful and a successful, peaceful coexistence and development.
Thank you so much. Today we are looking at the Community Power series, and we are so excited that we have a powerful team from Ivette, Joseph, and we look forward to having more serious discussions on various topics on building community power, because we know the challenges of the global challenges of conflict, the global challenge of food insecurity, the global challenges of health education challenges cannot be solved by government or businesses, but it is solved through community power. We need to give power to where it belongs, to our communities. Community power. Power.
Power.
Power to communities.
Power.
Community power.
Power.
This exciting episode is brought to you through support from Root Change in collaboration with Community Power International Fellows. Community Power, shifting power to community.